What if I told you that almost 4,000 years ago, an advanced civilization in the lower Mississippi River Valley built a monument that was bigger and more elaborate than Stonehenge? I know it sounds like some Joe Rogan ancient alien.
Look at that. Is that Rammy-Upton looking, kind of? I don't know, it's just kind of interesting. Moroni'S Fortifications. And now it came to pass that Moroni did not stop making preparations for war.
That you can't stop for too long, got to keep going. What you want to be going, you see, you can have it.
All right, guys, welcome back. I've been digging into some cool stuff, some really cool stuff about ancient civilizations in North America, because we've had people like Rod Meldrum and Jonathan Neville and people like that. Now, while I couldn't find the latest news specifically about the northeastern U.S., I did come across some interesting stuff. You know that old story about Cahokia, the Native American city in what's now southern Illinois? I know you guys know about it. I know Jonathan Neville knows about it. It was the one that was supposed to have just vanished, like gone, and nobody know where they went, right? Well, there's a study that's challenging that whole narrative, and it's exciting. I'm going to show you a video too in a little bit after we read this article. This stuff is crazy amazing. And it's not just wood. I mean, we're talking pyramids and stuff like that, okay? I mean, this is, once we excavate and find out what's going on in North America and like northeastern America and even southeastern America, just all over North America, we're going to see some things that are very similar to the Incas and the Mayans and the Aztecs and the Toltecs and all those people. This study that challenges all of these narratives suggests that Native Americans were actually in the area for centuries after the Mississippians left. So it's not like they just disappeared into thin air. And then you know about the Hopewell culture. If you're not familiar, these folks had a big influence on northeastern North America. They had trade networks, unique art traditions, and they even buried their VIPs, their kings and their queens and people like that in earthen mounds, right? We talked about that with Rod Meldrum. And get this, they were so good at math, right, and astronomy that they built these huge earthwork complexes. Somebody sent me an email and I can't find it on some northeastern stuff, like a recent city unburied. But this gives us a sense of the kind of ancient civilizations that were around in North America. I mean, there could be some heartland stuff going on. And this is more. I wanted to delve into this more because I started getting intrigued more. But I haven't written off. I think I'm more of a hemispheric guy, North, Central, and South America. But if we want to find out more about the northeastern U.S. specifically, I think we might need to check out academic journals. We need to check out, and I've been checking out all of these things like local archaeological societies. And I keep looking for news from places that specialize in the archaeology of this region. For instance, and don't go away, we're going to talk about this stuff, man, in a minute. So, for instance, a study debunking the myth of the Cahokia's Native American lost civilization provides insights into the complex history of this pre-Columbian metropolis located in what is now southern Illinois. This is crazy, man. This is crazy. So we're going to watch a couple videos we're going to dive into in a second. Actually, a couple videos. But first, this. Some of you know this already, and some of you don't. And a lot of this is new to me. All of this Book of Mormon geography stuff is new to me. New study debunks, this is 2020, but I thought it was neat, and I got some other stuff too. So don't go away. New study debunks myth of Cahokia's Native American lost civilization. So here's this image, courtesy of Cahokia Mounds Historic State Site, painting by William R. Iseminger. You mingle. You're an ice minger. What is an ice minger? A minger of ice. I don't know. All right. A U.S. Berkeley archaeologist has dug up ancient human feces. What a nice thing. I hope he wasn't looking for gold and just got poop. But it's golden poop because it's old. It's poop worth more than your poop. Among other demographic clues to challenge the narrative around the legendary demise of Cahokia, North America's most iconic pre-Columbian metropolis. By the way, I'm going to be talking about the Columbus, not Columbia, but the Columbus, which reminded me in another video of the true Columbus that Nephi saw. In its heyday in the 1100s, Cahokia, located in what is now southern Illinois, was a center for Mississippian culture and home to tens of thousands of Native Americans who farmed, fished, traded, and built giant ritual mounds. Now, I know they call them Native Americans, but I don't know if we really knew what they looked like. People have intermingled, and like every 150 to 200 years, people are completely a different race of people. And that's how it works. By the 1400s, Cahokia had been abandoned due to floods, droughts, resource scarcity, and other drivers of depopulation. But contrary to romanticized notions of Cahokia's lost civilization, the exodus was short-lived, according to a new UC Berkeley study. The study takes on the myth of the vanishing Indian that favors decline and disappearance over Native American resilience and persistence, said lead author A.J. White, a UC Berkeley doctoral student in anthropology. One would think that the Cahokia region was a ghost town at the time of European contact based on the archaeological record, White said, but we were able to piece together a Native American presence in the area that endured for centuries. The findings just published in the journal American Antiquity make the case that a fresh wave of Native Americans repopulated the region in the 1500s and kept a steady presence there through the 1700s, when migrations, warfare, disease, and environmental change led to a reduction in the local population. White and fellow researchers at California State University, Long Beach, the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and Northeastern University analyzed fossil pollen, the remnants of ancient feces, charcoal, and other clues to reconstruct a post-Mississippian lifestyle. Their evidence paints a picture of communities built around corn farming, maize farming, bison hunting, and possibly even controlled burning in the grasslands. Now, the Book of Mormon talks about wheat. Some have speculated, and scholars have claimed that wheat could be corn, but I think the Book of Mormon would have said corn. And that's not to say that wheat wasn't grown here. I'll go on. Bison hunting and possibly even controlled burning in the grasslands, which is consistent with the practices of... So, their evidence paints a picture, corn farming, bison hunting, grassland burning, which is consistent with the practices of a network of tribes known as the Illinois Confederation. Unlike the Mississippians, who were firmly rooted in the Cahokia metropolis, the Illinois Confederation tribe members roamed further afield, tending small farms and gardens, hunting game, and breaking off into smaller groups when resources became scarce. The linchpin holding together the evidence of their presence in the region were fecal stenols derived from human waste perceived deep in the sediment under Horseshoe Lake, Cahokia's main catchment area. Fecal stenols are microscopic organic molecules produced in our gut when we digest food, especially meat.
That is right. For those of you who eat a large amounts of meat, you have many fecal stenols. You have many stone stenols, which is stoni.
They are excreted in our feces and can be preserved in layers of sediment for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. What? Come on, doesn't that stuff just go into the dirt and become fertilizer? Dadgummit. Because humans produce fecal stenols in far greater quantities than animals, their levels can be used to gauge major changes in a region's population. This is very interesting, and I'm almost done with this. Anyway, it goes into more poo-poo, right? Because these are scientists and they think that's so amazing. I'll leave the link to this. But then gets into climate change, and then interestingly enough, talks about the culture estimated to have spread through the Midwestern, Southeastern, and Eastern United States from 700 AD. Interesting, right? To 1500s. So they're talking, and then later they're talking about Mississippian decline did not mark the end of Native American presence, but reveal a complex series of migrations, warfare, and ecological changes in the 1500s to 1600s before Europeans. However, I think it could be earlier, maybe even way earlier. And then the story of Cahokia was a lot more complex than Goodbye Native Americans, Hello Europeans. These people are they're supposed to be scientists, and they don't know that, they don't understand that people have migrated, sailed, conquered, mixed, mingled. We have Bering Strait, which they used to believe, and it goes on and on. I mean, other scientists talk about evidence of people sailing over here, even Asians coming over here. So what do you mean Native Americans? What is a Native American? You know what I mean? A Native American is a mix of many other cultures. I also found this interesting, Wonderum, but you have to sign up, do a free trial, and then they're going to charge you later. But just some of the things here, the unknown story of ancient North America, pyramids, state-of-the-art highways, productive scientists, artists, and engineers. These and much more were ancient North America pyramids, brothers and sisters, but having left no written, but they did leave a written account. No written record, and considered of no value by European conquerors many centuries later, these societies seem destined to remain a mystery. Now we are finally able to reveal their fascinating truths, right? The first human migrations to North Americas. DNA evidence points to Asia and only Asia. As the origin of all human migration to North America. Well, there were scientists don't know everything. It reminds me of the Dark Crystal, where they're riding on those animals, and she goes, "Prophets don't know everything." While there were many migration episodes, each episode involved passage across the Bering Strait. They sailed over here too. Not just Lehi, not just the Jaredites, many others. Maybe even Vikings. Maybe Europeans were coming over here. People from India, all over the Middle East. Sites of ancient habitation have been found all across the continent, underwater and on dry sea.
Dry ground.
The reason we can say these things is because these scientists changed their mind. They change their minds all the time. See why even with current technology, scientists cannot yet agree on the ages of these sites. Don't go away. I'm going to show you some really cool things on video. And then the Clovis man, the very first American culture, which is identified by the Clovis man, a specialized megafauna hunting tool that became the most widespread technology in the paleo world. Okay. That's prehistoric stuff. I don't get it. You can look that up. I'll leave the links to all these. This one, the one that I found interesting the most was, well, not the most, but the Poverty Point, North America's first city, kind of about what we were reading about a little bit ago, but about 3,500 years ago, while most North Americans were still nomadic. So think of the Jaredites even, and maybe before. See how one group of ancient people developed a planned community on more than 900 acres to accommodate 4,000 to 5,000 inhabitants. Designed with exceptional engineering skills, the fascinating city of Poverty Point functioned for 1,000 years and included one of the oldest pyramids ever built on the earth. And here's the Hopewell. We know about the Hopewell, right? In Ohio. And it goes on, man. It's crazy, amazing. The Cahokia. There's lots of discoveries, brothers and sisters.
What if I told you that almost 4,000 years ago, an advanced civilization in the lower Mississippi River Valley built a monument that was bigger and more elaborate than Stonehenge? I know it sounds like some Joe Rogan ancient alien.
Water erosion and the Temple of the Sphinx that leads you to believe that that place might have been as old as 9,000 plus BC. So,
it absolutely is.
But it actually happened. Nestled in the cotton fields of northeast Louisiana, about 20 miles from the nearest interstate, is Poverty Point, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Apart from a few major mounds, Poverty Point doesn't look noticeably different from the surrounding countryside. That is, until you see it from the air. With an aerial view, you can see the distinct shape of the complex. 6 concentric ridges enveloping a large open plaza, surrounded by 6 earthen mounds. It's huge, and it's the second oldest human-made structure in the Western Hemisphere. At the moment, I'm on top of Mound A, the biggest mound at the complex at 72 feet high. One archaeologist thought it kind of resembled...
I want to read you something real quick, and I'll turn this right back on. This is on Book of Mormon evidence. Rod Meldrum. The Mormons and the Mounds by Jonathan Neville. Mormon History Association presentation, June 2017, St. Louis, Missouri. Mormonism sprang from the mounds, wrote Roger Kennedy, former director of the Smithsonian National Museum of American History. Right. Even before the Book of Mormon was published, Mormonism was linked to the mound builder civilization of North America. One man who claimed to have heard a reading of the lost 116 pages, I have a headache today, said it was a description of the mounds about the country and similar to the Book of Mormon. In 1843, Joseph Smith apparently alluded to the 116 pages when he said the Book of Mormon spoke about sacred burial places. Several authors have placed the Book of Mormon among other 19th century books about the origins of the mound builders. At one time, there were over 1 million ancient earth mounds in North America. Approximately 100,000 remain today. Many of these mounds are located in the territory from western New York through western Missouri, where early Mormon history took place. 3 specific mounds figure prominently in LDS history. Zelph's Mound in Illinois, right? The Kinderhook Mound, also in Illinois, from which the 6 brass plates were taken, and Enon Mound in Ohio. Until the early saints leveled them to build homes and farms, Indian mounds dominated Nauvoo. Now it says the Kinderhook Mound. I'm not too sure about the Kinderhook plates. I have my own reservations on that, and many do as well. Many others do as well. Joseph Smith purchased one and resorted to it from time to time. Less well known are the mounds located just north of Nauvoo that have recently been discovered and preserved. The connections between Mormonism and the mounds of North America have yet to be fully explored. I thought that was neat. Let us go on.
One archaeologist thought it kind of resembled a bird, so this is known as the bird effigy mound. Birds may have been sacred to the Poverty Point culture, based on the avian pendants found at the site. This is, and probably will remain, pure speculation, but there are a few things about these ancient mound builders that we do know for sure. Since they found so many flint heads at Poverty Point, it makes a lot of sense that hunting was a huge part of the culture. The amazing thing about Poverty Point is that, like Göbekli Tepe in southern Turkey, it was built by a hunter-gatherer society. However, they would have to have been incredibly well organized in order to build something like this.
It gets
The
better,
site as a whole
folks.
was built over the course of several hundred years, but evidence suggests that individual structures were built very quickly. For example, archaeologists believe that Mound A was erected in just 90 days. This would have required a large population, an organized society, and resources that are not naturally found in the area. Clearly, this prehistoric civilization was trading with Native American tribes all across this region, because soapstone has been found in tools here that are from the Appalachian Mountains of Alabama and northern Georgia. But why did these people go to such great lengths to build this complex? The short answer is, we have no idea. We don't even know what Poverty Point was used for. It probably wasn't a settlement, because we probably would have found more refuge.
Maybe a war fortress, a fort, a retreat for soldiers.
And evidence of people living here for a long time.
A Nephite or Lamanite base. I mean, they found lots of arrowheads, right?
It was probably a area of religious significance, perhaps a place to perform ceremonies and worship. Mound B, just a short drive north from Mound A, might provide some answers. Mound B is the oldest part of Poverty Point, predating the other structures by hundreds of years. So if Mound B was considered sacred before the rest of the complex was built, then maybe Poverty Point was constructed not to fulfill a ceremonial purpose, but to commemorate the spiritual significance of the place itself. But I'm just spitballing here.
Interesting. Very interesting.
The frustrating fact of the matter is, the archaeological evidence can only tell us so much about the lives and beliefs of these ancient Americans. We don't know how they worshipped, what gods they worshipped, what their customs were, what sort of people they were, and how they organized their society.
They were
And that'll probably
anti-Nephi-Lehites.
always remain a mystery.
All right. So there's that. Look at that. Is that Rameumpton looking, kind of? I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. Moroni's fortification. And now it came to pass that Moroni did not stop making preparations for war. Thinking of what we just visited, maybe? And they could have been spiritual there too, because here's the church fighting against wickedness, maybe? Or these are the Lamanites worshiping the warriors and soldiers worshipped, right? I'm thinking it was a base. So Moroni made preparations for war, or to defend his people against the Lamanites, for he caused that his army should commence in the commencement of the 20th year of the reign of the judges, that they should commence in digging up heaps of earth round about all the cities throughout all the land which was possessed by the Nephites. Alma 50, verse 1. And we got Moroni's fortifications, Alma chapter 50, archaeological evidence. Read my blog here about the various necks of land in the Book of Mormon. And I love that part, that they should commence in digging up heaps of earth round about all the cities. There aren't really any concrete pyramids or ancient civilizations as far as I can find. But there's lots of mound building, lots of earth heaping, and we could have had temples like tabernacles built with wood and drapery and cloth and things like that, like was done like Moses did, right? Well, there are some cool things to know. For example, there's this concrete pyramid in Nebraska built by a guy named Mark Smith. He thought that the pyramid structures could withstand all kinds of weather. And then there's the pyramid in North Dakota, which was part of a missile defense complex during the Cold War. But other than that, that's it. But when it comes to ancient civilizations, it's just interesting when you read Moroni and different things in the Book of Mormon, like I did. The northeastern U.S. was home to various Native American cultures, as we have seen, like the Hopewellians from 200 BC to 500 CE. They were big into farming, had political structures, and built mounds, but they didn't build anything like pyramids. So while there's no concrete, I think that was more of what I was looking for. There is rich history of Native American cultures and settlements of all kinds of cultures. Who knows? Fortresses. Moroni did some stuff, man, in the Book of Mormon. It looks very similar. And there's evidence of wars, great wars. Rock on with lots of cool things. Anyway, this has been interesting. Take care.
You can